Welcome, everybody, to Breaking the Silence. You have a voice. I am Lady V, and you have always an opportunity to get 100 on this show. We air every Thursday at 8:30 now Eastern Standard Time, and we have a really hot topic for you guys tonight. I know we haven't been on in a couple of weeks, but we had some things that occurred over the past couple of weeks with our youth, and so we want to talk about today some of the issues that goes on in the school and the challenges in our youth. When is enough enough? It's a lot of things that we're seeing with gun control, all the way to education, to gender preferences and everything. And I think a lot of people are just kind of over some stuff. So we want to talk about it today. But before we start the show, I want to introduce my co-host. We have Dr. Yvonne Bennett. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Good. Anything new happening with you?
There's a lot of stuff happening. Clients coming from everywhere. People are going through. And like you said, the youth.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And we have the beautiful Joy. How you doing, Joy?
I'm doing great. Can't complain.
How's your show going?
It's going well. It's going well. We had a show on this past Tuesday at 8:30. And basically we were just doing a recap of one of Netflix's best shows, Love is Blind.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw
Mm-hmm.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, today we're going to be talking about challenges in our youth. When is enough enough? We had something here in Nashville that really hit kind of close. We had a shooting at one of our schools. I work for the Boys and Girls Club, so right after the shooting, we had an actual threat, which caused us to have to evacuate from our main office and find other places to work. And I think that a large part of it came from the communication of the media on identifying the young lady who did the shooting. And it kind of escalated because she brought in her gender, which had nothing to do with her shooting, but it just served an uproar in this community here. So it's been a lot going on. One of the things I do want to address first and foremost is the gun control in the schools. Are our children really safe? This is an ongoing issue. How many times do we have to experience a shooter coming in and we not do anything about it? I mean, because this is going way back now. And it seems like the schools are always profiled. Uh, they already have a plan, but the school doesn't have a plan. So how do we fix this issue? Because we keep talking about gun control, and but our kids keep getting shot. Our kids keep being in danger. And it was funny because we had a meeting today, and I said I believe that we're not proactive enough. So we don't cover every possibility
Mm-hmm.
of what could happen. This person walked into a school full force with a couple of weapons, shot through the window, and there was no plan. There was nothing put in place that could have protected the children, because we think it won't happen to us. So let's talk about it. What are y'all? I'm gonna open up the floor. We just gonna talk. How do you feel about it, Dr. Bennett?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. We, in the school system today, we have had enough shootings for them to prepare. There needs to be all types of surveillance cameras and metal detectors and all of this. I mean, we've had enough shootings. How many more shootings do we have to have? And I do understand that this person broke the glass, shot through the glass, but shooting through a glass that where a siren can go off, an alarm can go off, would have prevented I believe, this person from being able to be successful at what she came in to do. I think that they're not learning their lesson. We've had enough. How much more do we have to have? You can't take anything for granted. The school right now, every school, the windows need to be alarmed. There needs to be metal detectors all over the place. So if a person comes in with a weapon, it can be detected right away. And also in the school system, in the office, where the offices are, they should have some type of an alert button where they can immediately contact 911 immediately.
Well, they do have shelter in place. The school, from what I understand, schools do have evacuation plans and shelters in place. But I think that what has happened is they don't have a plan that protects these kind of things from happening. Because again, when you do the shelter in place, and I'll give an example, we did a drill yesterday, but it wasn't thought out. Like nobody really knew where to go. It wasn't like, and these are the things that I think catches us off guard. Like,
Right.
what is the actual door that somebody could come in? You know,
Right.
you think about the front door because they have the cameras, they have the surveillance, but you don't think about the side door that they can come in. Like nobody would have ever thought that
Right.
this person would have shot through the window. They
Right.
didn't think
Right.
that out. And like Dr. Bennett said, so now we got to think, do we need to bulletproof our windows?
Yep.
Because
Exactly. And the shelters are one thing, but the shelters don't do much if you have to get to the shelter area if there's no protection over the windows and the doors and so forth and so on. It's really sad because we've had enough shootings. How many more?
Yeah.
We've lost a lot of kids.
what do you think,
And
Joy?
teachers.
I totally agree. I believe that it's unfortunate, but and the only way to protect it, to me, I feel like the only way to protect our children is we really have to take on the mentality that we're like in a war zone. So I believe that all schools should have bulletproof windows and doors. I believe that there should automatically be a button or something that someone in the office can push if they hear gunshots that will alert the police officers to come directly to the school and that is a shooting going on. Without them someone having to call and make a phone call. And it should be a button, the same button that they have in the bank. If somebody was trying to rob the bank, they should have inside of the school systems. I'm not sure where they're gonna hide their shelter in place tactic, but I believe that those doors as well should be bulletproof so that if the teacher can have a time to close the door and lock it, that they can't shoot through the door to make entry. Right. And it's unfortunate that we have to live like this, but unfortunately the world is getting worse and the people, they don't have any remorse for children. They don't care about the children. So they're not, years ago used to be, certain parts of, it was either church, it was a safe haven. School was a safe haven. Now we don't have those. So now we have to think as if we are in a constant war zone. And the only way to protect our children is to make sure that we have defenses against people being able to come in and just kill our children.
Yeah.
So do you think we waited too long to be proactive?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Take care of this situation? Because when we look at what happened this time, like we're talking about many shootings that have taken place over the years. And I feel like when they were saying that, oh, well, now we need to have law enforcement in the schools. And now they're talking about teachers having weapons in the school. Like, I feel like that should have been like maybe 10 years ago conversation, because now they're talking about, well, can we afford the manpower of the $55 million that it's going to cost to get the police officers into the school system, because that's expensive, but had they had done it years ago progressively, it may have not been so expensive, and then are we teaching the children totally how to be prepared when things like this happen, or are we still addressing it casually? So I think that um we have failed our youth, because what could have taken place years ago, it did not.
Yeah, and as far as the police, we can take some of them off of coffee duty,
Right.
and put them in
Yeah,
the school system and let them
yeah,
drink coffee in the
absolutely.
school, because that's what they do. I mean, I see it every day. One car parked this way, another one parked this way, and all they do all day long. I've actually taken a few trips by the Wawa, and they actually sit there and drink this coffee. You see the same cars, take them and put them in the school system instead of having them on the highway so much, because people are going to drive the way they're going to drive. Take some of those police officers and stick them in the school system. Then it won't
I
be so
totally
much.
agree.
They're still going to get paid. So what difference does it make? What location? Take them off of some of those freelance, vacations, because that's what it is. They sit around and they drink coffee and chit chat. I see it all the
Right.
time.
Now I want to shift a little bit, because in this shooting, I think that, and this is just me, I think that they put too much emphasis on the shooter.
I
You
agree.
know, the media
Yeah.
immediately went into, and I think they knew that they did the wrong thing, because they immediately went into talking about the gender of the shooter. And they forgot that there were people who died. That first couple of days was all about the shooter. We went from her being transgender to now trying to interview her friends and different pictures of her. And I was like, okay, what difference does that make? We don't really care about the shooter right now, because
Right.
first of all, the shooter is not even living. So
Right.
I felt that they put too much emphasis on the shooter and not the victims that the shooter
Right.
killed.
Yeah,
So
I agree. I agree. They put too much of an emphasis upon the shooter instead of on the situation.
right,
You need to deal with the situation. Okay, how can we prevent this from happening again? The shooting that the shooter that attempted to do some shooting 2 days ago in Madison, New Jersey. He was on the train. He got on the train and he was standing next to an individual, and he bumped into him, and he said to this other guy, he said, "You better get out of the way for you before you die like the rest of them." That guy immediately got on the phone and called the police, and they shut down the daycare and the schools in Madison, New Jersey. Shut it down.
so going back to the one shooter, she apparently went to the school. So now we're going to
Yeah.
shift over to some of the other issues. So one of the things that they questioned was she bullied? And one of the things that I want to talk about, because I have been in training all day, and one of the things that they did a survey, and they asked the children, how did they feel about peer to staff, peer to teachers, and then peer to peer. And the scores were really, really low when it came to the peer to peer, because the youth are saying that they are consistently being picked on
Mhm.
by their friends. Now, that's an issue that I don't really know if we even have an answer to, because it's so bad. Like I'm watching young people where they're not respected for whether it's their color, it's their culture, their gender, whatever it is, they're being picked on. And what is being found is it is causing some type of, I guess, trauma, mental issues, because they're wanting to be accepted and they're not. So go back to the shooter, they are speculating that maybe because she attended this school, maybe there was some foul play and bullying. um I can't put a large emphasis on that because she's 28. She was 28, so if that's not going to, that shouldn't make you want to go and shoot up some children. But in saying that, where are we with that? And where is the resolve on it? How do we get that part resolved? Because I know that in my generation, we had some bullying, but not like I see now. I mean, kids are like really, it's bad. And we got three different generations here. So, we went from color to I believe social status, and now it's gender. As a large part has to do with gender preference. So how are we addressing this? Where are we at with that?
Well, I don't. First of all, we don't know the inside of a person, how deep something hurts them. Now, you say she was 28, but 28, she may have been carrying this all this time. See, people don't always, even when they go to therapy, it's still a process, but you can't determine how long something's going to hurt a person. You can't determine how deep, like you and I, maybe you, Joy, and I can get over something. That's why it's very, very to me insensitive to tell someone build a bridge and get over it. Well, that's not as easy as it sounds, because some people hurt deep. I mean, real deep. And when that hurt is real deep, they internalize everything, and we don't know how they're going to respond to it. She may, personally speaking, I think she had a plan. I really think she had a plan. I think she was, this person was deeply hurt, and and it's obvious that she did have probably some mental issues, depression or whatever, but I believe she had a plan. And I believe it stemmed from the hurt that she incurred. I do believe that she went to this school, and I do believe she was bullied to a point where she just couldn't snap out of it. We don't know, but that's what it appears to be. Because I've known people to go through stuff like that. They just don't snap out of something just like that.
So when you talk about the major influence, because you're saying that, do we believe that peer pressure is a major influence? Joy, you come from a younger generation. How did you guys handle the bullying when you were growing up in school?
Well, I mean, bullying, I believe everybody's been bullied once or twice, even if you're a popular kid, at one point in your childhood, there's somebody who tried to bully you. But I think the difference now is because, like, when I went to school, and I've had points in my life when I was in school and I was being bullied at different parts of my life, and it stopped, at 3:00 when I went home, and then it may start again when I come back to school. But I think the downside of technology and social media, I remember my daughter was in school and she was being bullied, and she was being bullied in school, and then it filtered onto social media. Mm-hmm. So with children now, they don't have that break, right, to kind of, run scenarios over in their head or process the bullying because it's consistently happening.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas though years ago, we've had time to go home and kind of run things in our head like, well, could I do this and would I do that? But if you have it and, now you have not just that one person, because on social media, it's open to the public.
Mm-hmm.
So if one person say something to you, now you may have 10 other people that or may not really know, adding on to those insensitive comments.
Right.
And that may cause a child to internalize things even more because it feels like they don't have anyone on their side, by their side, or anyone, an outlet for themselves. So I think that I think that bullying now is different because there's no boundaries for it. It's almost as if with children now, if you have a terrible school year, that may last you, who knows, because once things are on the internet, it never comes off for the most part. Somebody's probably screenshot it, or it's just so much that goes on with children. I think that messes with their psyche, and then a lot of them aren't well-rounded people, because a lot of kids, by the time they're 3, they have a screen in their face and they're constantly on the screen. Then they go to social media and it's like, oh, I want to do this for likes. So now they're trying to get all of this validation from people. And when you can no longer get your validation because you haven't really built up a strong foundation from, just being around people that, your family and your friends, and getting validation from them and learning how to love yourself, you get all your validation online. So when you have that and it backfires, because now all these people may be bullying you online, it can make a child depressed. And I don't know, you never know what someone can do. Well, you never know what someone's breaking point can cause them to do. People snap every day because of have mental breaks. So you never know what's going to cause someone to do. But I don't think bullying today is the same as it was years ago.
I not totally agree. We call it the have and the have nots, because what happens is now the young people are looking at each other, and you're not cool if you don't have what I have. If you're not this, if you don't look the way I do. We dealt with it again a little bit, but it is really, really bad now because, again, it seems like it's breaking down the children a little bit different than how it did us. So when you look at that, I do agree, you do have a lot of social barriers, but now let's talk about what's being done in the home.
Yeah, I was going to say,
because everything starts in the house, and I feel that and someone had made a statement saying, the problem is parents don't spank their children anymore. Corporal punishment has gone out the window. And so that's why these kids are so out of control. And so I had to agree, but I had to disagree, because I was like, I feel like there's not a balance in you spanking your children and you loving your children and you're pouring into your children. Yes, if children misbehave, we definitely want to spank them, but at the same time you want to love them, and at the same time you want to build a confidence in them that other people can't so easily tear down. But parents don't have time to parent, so it's like now it's broken at home, because it starts at home. If your parent is building your self-esteem, it's hard for somebody to come along and I hear the kids, it was one of the girls last week, and one of the kids said, oh, your hair is ugly, and she turned around and she said, no, it's not, you just mad because I'm cute. So confidently she knew, I know I look good whether you don't think I look good or not. It doesn't matter. But then you have that other child that somebody could say your hair is ugly or you're ugly, and if it's not where she's being built, her self-esteem is not being built at home, she's gonna fall apart because that is like, oh my God, they just told me I'm ugly, or my hair is ugly, and now it's gonna be an acceptance thing. So it actually starts, I believe, at home.
Yeah, it definitely starts in the home. And I found when I worked in the school system, the bullying, the children that did a lot of this bullying were from homes where they were beaten and whipped for every little thing. So what
Mm.
they do, you beat anger into a child. You have to love a
Mhm.
child. You don't beat a child. First of all, you don't beat a child. Disciplining and beating is two different things, because the average parent that beats her child or beats his child, they are angry about many things.
Right.
And not just what the child has done. And they beat this child. Now you've made this child angry, and the child goes to school, and the child is going to take it out on somebody. So
Yeah.
it definitely starts in the home. If you don't love that child in the home and teach that child how to love themselves and stop coming down on the child for every little thing they do, everything a child does don't deserve a whipping or don't deserve a strong disciplinarian action. No, you love that child and you warn that child and you keep going over and over and over. They get it just like we got it. But I know growing up, it was beating after beating after beating. And it didn't do anything except make some of my siblings angry, even in their adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
then when you talk about corporal punishment in the home, where do we draw the line? Because a lot of times parents are just not disciplining their children at all,
Mm-mm.
which is, I believe, where a large part of why the children are acting out,
Yeah.
because I don't believe they get spanked enough, or if at all. But then it's a broken system, because now the kids know, if you spank me, I'm going to call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true. But I also believe that a lot of times nowadays, I don't think parents parent. There's very few people who really parent their children. And what I mean by that is,
I agree.
I believe that, and even in your home, your children should have screen time. You shouldn't allow these devices to be raising your children so that you can keep them quiet and you can do whatever you want to do. And I think, as I know, a lot of times that's what happens in a home. So a lot of times the children are basically being nannied by these devices.
Mm-hmm.
And then when something happens, you may scream at them and tell them like, all right, well, just go to your room or get out of my face. And so parents aren't really parenting, because you have to have a healthy balance of giving them love and showing them that, you are a great person and I'm here to help you to grow into an adult. I used to always tell my daughter, I'm not raising a girl, because you're not going to be a girl forever. Your childhood is this big. Your
Mm-hmm.
adulthood is much bigger. So I'm raising you to being a functioning, healthy adult, a member of society. That
Mm-hmm.
was always my thing. And so I made conscious decisions that, okay, I need you to learn certain principles of life. Now, and my daughter, she's amazing. But did she get beatings? Absolutely. I beat her if she got out of line, or I felt like she did something crazy. Absolutely. But I also loved her. I also made it to where the relationship that we had, you can come talk to me. Always wanted to make her feel safe enough to come talk to me about whatever it is. And as long as you're honest with me, my policy was, as long as you're honest, I can't be mad. I get it.
Mm.
Things happen. You're going to make mistakes. But as long as you're honest and I
Right.
can help you walk through whatever you need to walk through,
Right.
then do that. But don't lie to me and now have me out here looking crazy. And now we both are somewhere else because we're not attacking the problem because you decide you want to lie to me. And
Right.
I believe once you, as a parent, you have to create certain atmospheres
Mm-hmm.
for your children, one, to feel safe to come talk to you, and also for them to understand, because my daughter also understood when she would go to her friend's house and her friends would be screaming and talking crazy to their mother, and she'll look like, oh, you can't talk to my mother like that. No, they can't. I need you to understand that. So even though I wanted her to feel safe with me, I also needed her to respect me and also to respect adults. And there's certain qualities, there's certain morals and certain principles in life that I don't think that a lot of parents instill into their children. I just think parents really are just, I don't know, they tired of being parents or they just lazy. I don't know.
I think that a lot of them don't know how to be a parent.
They don't know how.
Because it's a lot. It's a lot that comes in with it because no one has fixed that. You got to look at your average working parent. Like I even look at the parents that come in and they pick up their children. I'm gonna say off the rip, 85-90% of the parents that come pick up their children, they're on their cell phone.
Yes.
They're not picking up their children and greeting them and saying, "Hey, baby, how was your day? Come in," and not be on your cell phone long enough so that you can engage with them. Because the thing is, you're not aware of what has taken place in their day. And they need to be able to have your undivided attention, not you just on your phone and you saying, "How was your day? Oh, what's good, girl? Let me tell you." No, I need you to be able to give me a few minutes to find out what actually took place today in my day. You don't know if somebody abused your child. You don't know if somebody said something to your child, because most parents are so involved in what they're involved in. They're not able to take the time out to say, "Okay, I'm going to pick up my child. Let me call you back.
Right.
This is our time." Because really, you can go back and call your friends, because bedtime is about 2 hours after you come and pick your child up.
That's right. So
you have only seen your child a total of 2 hours per day. You see them a few minutes in the morning, you drop them off, they pick them up, and when they pick them up, you got to eat and you got to go take your bath, and then you get ready to go to bed. So when have you the time to take out to say, "How was your day? What's going on with you? What happened with your friends? What are some of the concerns?" They don't have time for that because they're involved in what they're involved in.
And that's true. And two things. Number one, agreeing with what you're saying, there is too little interaction with the parent and child. And Joyce said something amongst many things, but something very key. Parents today are not parenting, and they're not. They are not parenting. They are trying to raise a friend.
Right.
And you and your child can be friendly, but it can't be your friend. You have to be a parent to a child. And then the other thing is the way you discipline your child. There are ways that you can discipline a child. You don't have to beat a child. You can discipline that child, but you can't reward a child for misbehaving.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people do. Exactly what Joy said. Just get out my face. Go sit in your room. Look at your cell phone. Here's my iPad. You don't reward a child for bad conduct. No, we have to sit down and we have to talk about this.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about this. You can make a movie between you and your child. Now, what if I acted like that?
Yeah.
Right. Your child. What if I acted like that? What, you're going around biting me and doing this and doing that. How would you like it if I did that to you?
Right.
But I want to chime in real quick on something Dr. Bennett said. Parents are trying to be their children's friend. And not only are they trying to be their children's friend, you're trying to be their homegirl, they're trying to be their homeboy. So there's no distinction between parent and child.
Right.
Parent is on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, twerking with their kids and trying to get people to find out who's the parent and who's the child.
Right.
I didn't do that with my mom, didn't do that with me. I didn't do that with my daughter. We can look young, but we shouldn't be on TikTok twerking with our kids. And then we need to dress our children appropriately. That's the other thing. We got parents dressing their 10, some even younger than that.
Yes.
the clothes that they put. I have this one girl, a little girl. She has to be about 9, and I can't even tell you how many T-shirts I give her a week. Now
Oh.
I'm trying to understand if every day she go home with a big T-shirt. Mom ain't asking no question. You
No
don't want
questions.
like at some point, if my child comes home every day with a different shirt on, I'm gonna ask.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on?
What's going
What
on?
happened?
But the thing is, you're trying to dress your 7 and 8-year-old like they're grown, and then you want to know why there's a problem.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Your child is not your friend.
Yeah.
And parents are not parenting because they're trying to be cool with their children. So the child is like, when you say to most of these children know everything. They know every show, they know every
Yeah.
song, they know everything, you know, because they are forced to be grown. We used to say stay in a child's place.
Right.
Well, child's place nowadays is adult situations.
Yeah.
And that's where one of the parts where we've gone wrong. I distinctly remember as a child, if my mother was having adult conversations with her friends, she would tell me, Joy, go to another room, go upstairs, go play, or do something like that.
Exactly.
Because it wasn't something she wanted me to be exposed to at that age.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest part of these children now, they're exposed to everything. Everything's on the phone. You can find anything, porn, gun, how to make guns, anything, drugs, everything is at their fingertips. And I don't think people understood that you cannot expose a child to everything when they're so underdeveloped and don't have the wisdom to process it all.
That's right. That's right.
And I think when we got to the point where we're just like, oh yeah, well, no, because we want them to have a wide expansion, and we want them to expand their minds. And I get that, and I'm with expanding the child's mind, but I also understand that the mind of a child is it can become so vulnerable. It could be a place where anything could be manipulated.
Yeah.
And
stored.
I think that's, go ahead.
And stored.
Yeah, and stored.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that people, when they were coming up with let's do this whole internet thing, and let's make the internet where anybody can get on it at any point, and let's make sure the internet's on the phone. I don't think they thought that at 5 years old a kid can go on to social media and see grown women twerking, and in their mind this is embedded in their mind. They're like, oh, so this is what it's supposed to be. See people shooting each other and fighting and having these killings going on, and they being exposed to it. And I remember years ago there was a conversation when really violent video games were coming out,
right?
And they were like, this isn't good, because once you see violence, what it does is desensitize you. And so now you can see, the more you take in, your humanity kind of dwindles, because now you're getting used to seeing somebody hurt. You're getting used where normally if you don't see it and you see someone hurt, your heart automatically goes out to them and you feel compassion.
Right.
But if you see it on a consistent basis, now it's just, oh, that's just what it is.
Right.
But not only that, remember years ago, and I bring this up because she was just on TV. I remember when Brooke Shields at 12 did this movie where she played the part of I think she was a hooker or something like that. And I mean, it was so big and controversial. They were like, they could not believe that her mother let her pose nude at 12. Now it's common. I don't know if you've seen the little TikTok video with the little, I think she can't be no more than 8, but she done became the TikTok queen, the little girl. And she's got the little hairstyles and she's got the little more. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
See, parents think it's cute.
Too soon. It's way parents don't realize that it's too much. And then when the children come to school, because now you are allowing them to be expressive, teachers are not teaching your children. The
Right.
children are not learning anything. They are
Right.
behind because they can't be taught, because we can't manage behavior. And
Right.
teachers and youth people, they're not disciplinarians.
Right.
They are
Yes.
supposed to be there to be able to help build character,
Mm-hmm.
help with education. But the
Mhm.
parents have to understand that it starts at home.
Yeah.
Do you so I wanna shift just a little bit before it gets too late. Um Failure. A lot of What do you think about failure in our youth? Because a lot of them are not taught how to deal with failure, how to deal with um the unfair treatment. So in saying that, do you think that there's too much emphasis placed on mental health?
I don't think it's too much of an emphasis placed on mental health if it's directed in the right area or at the right person. Everybody, every person that does something out of the ordinary is not mentally ill.
Right.
That's number one. They're not mentally ill. Some people, some children, and Joy was talking about um, how her mom would tell her to go to another room if she was having an adult conversation. Well, today, children are allowed to be in the midst of an adult going off on a spouse, going off on a significant other, going off on this and going off on another child. And what they hear, they intake that thing and
I
it's
agree.
seated on the inside of them. So now, and Joy made use the word, they can't process. They can't. A child young, 2.5, 3 years old, even 4, their brain is only 75% developed. You got 25% to go. So now, they know that they're doing something, but they don't know why they're doing what they're doing.
Right.
So that's why they can't put all the pieces together, because it's running around like scatter, like helter skelter in their mind, So you can't label that child as being mentally ill. No, that child just has too much information to deal with. And that's one of the things that's happening to our children today. They have too much information that they don't know what to do with it. They don't
I
know.
totally
That's
agree.
why
And
they're on social
I
media.
believe that they're being forced to
Yes.
think
Yes.
like an adult, and they're
Yes.
children.
And they're not ready.
They
They're not
shouldn't
ready.
have to. Some of the things that they're exposed to, they should not even have to be concerned with, because
Right.
it's not something that is even their business. They're children.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Children should be playing with toys. They should
Yeah.
be having fun with their friends. They should not be concerned about financial decisions in the home
Right.
and career choices and whether
Right.
mama got a job, daddy got a job. Those are not issues that children should be confronted with, because that's
No.
not their responsibility
Right.
No.
in the home. But they feel so pressured, and then when they come to school, they're not actually able to just be children, because now
Right.
we have taken them into an adult world, shown them so many things
Yes.
that they forgot that they only 11 or 12.
And then you have to deal with the child that goes to school and they've heard in the home, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. Over here, they got the latest Jordans and the latest this and the latest that and designer this and designer that.
Right.
And they go to school and they don't have that. So now they have to live with this poverty thing, because parents open up, just like Ladie Vee said, that you shouldn't expose your child to that. It's okay to tell your child that right now, that's something that we can't go get, but I promise you, we will in a little bit. Just give me a little bit, and you plant that seed in their head. It's okay. It's okay to plant a seed in a child, stating that right now we can't do that, but you don't use terminology like We can't afford that. That's what Johnny's mother does. Don't expect me to do that. That's not the right approach, because children, they intake all of this, and the next thing you know, they start having that low self-esteem, that low self-worth. They're not mentally ill. They are confused.
Right.
Yeah, that's a lot
So
of what it is.
I want to spend the last couple of minutes, and I'm gonna go refer back to
Okay.
the shooter. Do we think and that there is too much emphasis on um gender choices?
In the world, period, or you just saying with
with
this
our youth?
incident?
With our youth.
Absolutely. I think they have taken this whole, what you want to be, what do you feel like thing to a whole new level. There should not be a conversation to children. Children should know nothing about sex. That's why when children are born, they're not given a mate to have sex with. There's supposed to be a consensual age when a child can consent to sex. I think that we are perverting the minds of our youth with all this. Oh yeah, well, what are you? What do you think you are? What you feel like? Are you gay? Are you bisexual? Do you think you trans? That should not be a thing. And I think in this world now, we've gotten to the point where everything is, oh well, what's your sexuality? For you to be my doctor, I don't need to know who you sleep with at night. I just need to know you have your certifications, you went to school, and that you're good. I don't want to know if you like men or if you like women or if you think you're a woman and you want me to. I believe we have gotten to the point, and I get this whole, they want everybody to feel accepted. But my thing is, we still have a race problem here in America.
Right.
Y'all don't want to address that. But now y'all want us to talk to these kids about who they feel like they are. Guess what? As a little girl, I just felt like a little girl. I just felt like joy. I knew what my parents gave to me, the love they showed me. I know the way my brothers treated me. That's what I knew as a little girl. I wasn't sitting around here, and I think it's unfair to put that type of pressure on children to make them feel like, well, what do you think you are? Well, how do you feel? Are you a little boy? Do you like little boys? Do you want to dress up like a little girl? That's too much stuff. Like in school and kindergarten, the things you learn in kindergarten is not the same things you learn when you in 6th grade. And it's not the same things you learn when you in 12th grade. And the reason why they have a curriculum is because they understand that between the developmental stages in life is what help you to progress. We're not doing any type of developmental of, oh, who do you think you are as a person? Are you a good person? Are you honest? Are you kind? We're not doing any of that. We just go straight to, well, what do you think you feel like? Who you think you want to have sex with? Who you think you are sexually attracted to? That's not for children to decide.
No. And we can keep it simple, stupid. Child come home and tell you, a little boy comes home and tell you, look, I want my nails polished and I want to do this and I want to do that. Here you are, 6 years old. You're going to dress like a little boy because that's who you are. And I buy your clothes, your mom and dad, we buy your clothes, or whoever it is that you're addressing. This is what you're going to look like because you're a boy. Or if it's a girl,
and
you don't have that choice. We give them
just so we're clear, now it's called pronoun. So I was in a training today. It totally blew my mind because I've never had this asked to me. They told us that because they were doing a class on the youth. So I'm like, youth development. So they said, we want you to put your name on the name tag. And we want you to put your pronoun. And I'm like, I didn't want to be the first to ask y'all. I ain't never had anybody ask me what my pronoun was. So I waited for somebody else to ask because I was like, what do they mean pronoun? I mean, I know my name, normally since I have been on the face of this earth, people have said, put your name on the name tag. I have never had anybody say to me, and your pronoun. So I'm like looking real crazy right now. And so somebody else asked, they stepped out there and they said, excuse me, what does it mean pronoun? Like, what are you? So they were like, are you a she, her? Are you a he, him? Are you a they, them? And I'm like, whoa, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's
It is a lot.
And it's
and that's
confusing.
why I said enough is enough. The
Yeah.
children cannot handle that. They don't even they stop even teaching sex ed in the school because sexual identification and education should be between the parent and the child.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to worry about if you're a little boy, you're a little boy, you're a little girl, you're a little girl. Now that's it. We doing too much. And
Yeah.
so go back to the shooter. We said, oh well, she was a transgender. Now we done developed the story. Well, probably when she was in school, in this school, she was picked on. So now we're writing the narrative. And I'm like, well, where do we get here? What difference does it make? You're a child that is in the school to get an education, and that's it. You know, when did we become pronouns?
Yeah. Yeah, we're putting too much of an emphasis upon something that someone else, how someone else is, and we're planting seeds in our children, and it's not good. It really isn't good. And there's a way to approach it because it's not necessarily 13, 14, 15. You got to deal with the 6, 7, 8, 9 now.
Yes.
Because they come and they know everything that's on social media. They know TikTok. They know everything. They know too much. And I think parents need to schedule and the time, like you said before, the time that this is the time that you can use your device, but I'm going to watch what you're watching.
Exactly. Yep. Need to be supervised.
Whatever happened to the parental guidance? Whatever happened to that?
I'm also going to monitor who your friends are.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of this is going back to peer to peer.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. When we start confusing children and now parents are falling into that. You know, I got children at the school. I don't know what they are. Because the parents have told them you can be both. So now they want you to identify them as a they and a them. I'm like, so are they more than one person?
That's what I thought when they brought that to me. Like, you have to say they or them. And I said that last time I checked in English class, they and them meant plural.
Right.
I don't know what, and other than that, I'm like, what, a legion? They got demons with them. Let me know what's coming on with this, because
they and them means that they get to decide. Like, I could be a he or her, a he. I can be a he or him today. I can be a she or her tomorrow. And that makes me a they and a them. I'm like, that's too much. That is too much. And we are feeding into it. That's the thing that gets me. It's like we are feeding this to our children. So now you can't call them little girl. You can't call them little boy. You can't say, you like walking on eggshells because you're so paranoid that you're gonna offend somebody over something that shouldn't even be an issue with our young people in the first place.
And the teachers don't make it any better. There's a lot of teachers that that are teaching our children, and they're perverted. They are perverted. When I was in the school system, there was a little boy, two little boys. They were brothers, and the father and his companion, one was a psychologist and one was a doctor in whatever area. But when we made the things for Mother's Day or Father's Day, they put both of their men, both of their daddies. And so when the children came along to show, one of the children said, "Oh, you got two daddies?" The teacher immediately said this, "Oh, it's nothing wrong with that. It's okay." So now they have that in their mind,
right?
That it's nothing wrong with it. And not only that, they're looking at the one over here that's got the mother and father.
Right.
Like, it's something wrong with you. it's too much information. You don't even put children on the spot like that.
Yeah.
Because they can't have it.
This is something Derek said. He said political perversion. Politicians are agreeing with the gay community, and the gay community is pushing their agenda on everybody. I can't believe that in America, politicians are trading children for votes. When you have children trying to get surgery and grown folks pushing for that, rallying and protesting, that's perversion. Enough is enough, and parents are wrong.
Absolutely.
And I totally agree that what even today, and this was my statement. I said, I felt that when you talk about inclusion, you are invading, it's one-sided because you are going against my rights as a person. So what you should have said was, you can put your name on the name tag, and if you would like to put your pronoun, then you can. But that's not what you said. You said put your pronoun on there.
Right.
Well, everybody is not comfortable in identifying with a pronoun. I am who I am. When you look at me, it's what you see. And now you are pushing something that is not really even in. When did that become important? If my name is Yvonne, we're in a training class. I get it. Inclusion means respect. But go back to something Joy said. Now, you're asking me, am I he or her or him? Can I put on black? Can I put on white? What about that?
No.
We don't want to bring race into it, because then we're identifying with we're racist. No,
exactly.
When we say inclusion, can I put I'm a Christian? Because now we're identifying with who I truly am. But you took out of every single thing, you identified with I'm a he or him or her or she or a they or them. There's other pronouns that identify a person.
Right.
But you're trying to push an agenda that is not what we should be doing, because it's confusing our children, it's confusing them, and then those who are in the home that are being taught right, now these children are being picked on because you got your little girl looking like a little boy, you got your little boy looking like a little girl, and today I am, and tomorrow I'm not. And it's confusing the children. They're too young to have to go through that.
And then you have this the child that is a child that has this thing with low self-esteem and so forth and so on, and not being taught in the home who they are. It looks like these people with the pronoun is getting attention. So now I'm gonna follow them.
Yes. Absolutely.
I'm going to follow them because I'm not recognized. So I want to be recognized. So I want to get on this wagon. And that's what's happening.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it is 8:28 here. I'm sorry. I'm on a different time. But we have to wrap up this show, but we are going to have a continuation next week on this, because I want to dedicate actually this whole month to our youth and see if we can get some educators on here. So if you're interested in being on the show, we would love to have you on here, our youth leaders on the show, because enough is enough. It is. It is too much. It's affecting our children. It's affecting their education and everything else that goes along with it. So we want some other people to come on the show, because we do want to hear your voice and what you have to say concerning this topic. But the time is up. You have been watching Breaking the Silence. You have a voice. I am your host, Ladie Vee. You have Dr. Yvonne Bennett, and you have Joy. We have been talking about the problems with our youth today. So we air every Thursday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. I am so thrown with the time, because now I'm getting ready to go to another place. But I do know that it's Eastern Standard Time. So we invite you to tune in. We want to welcome thank you for all of our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube viewers. Feel free to make comments after the show is over. And again, if you want to be on the show, all you have to do is inbox me and let me know. But we do have to go. And until next week, always remember that you have a voice. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.